Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pipe Bomb Sessions. And we are full steam ahead with Saturday night's main event. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we will be crowning the new World Heavyweight Champion that was vacated after Seth Rollins got brutally attacked by his own group a couple of weeks ago. And here we are. Here we are. We got no world champ for Raw. We knew that CM Punk was already going to be facing at the time Rollins for the title, and now things are shuffled up a little bit as they usually do get with WWE, whether it's on purpose from them or sometimes they just run into these situations because of injury and just some bad luck with some wrestlers, right? So one of the things that's going on, and I'm just in shock, honestly, of this, is because they didn't capitalize on multiple situations that could have happened, and that's by making Jey Uso win the Battle Royal that was for the number one contenders matchup that was gonna be facing CM Punk for that World Heavyweight title. Now, Jey Uso winning is interesting. However, it's really not. I know they're trying to push this whole Jey Uso becoming like a mini Roman Reigns, as people have called him. Again, this new attitude, returning to the, how I was saying a few weeks ago, right hand man, Jey Uso. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoyed the right hand man, don't get me wrong. However, one thing that I think they are not really understanding to do is what do they really truthfully want Jey Uso to be and do? I know he's slowly teasing his way into this, but like, truthfully, what do you guys want him to do here? And I think that's what it's really going to come down to, and we're going to see what it kind of does determine just based off that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really sure on what end is Uso and Co going to be actually going. Speaking of Co, we know that he eliminated his brother Big Jim from that Battle Royal, even though Big Jim and him were not the last two remaining. So it seems like there's a little bit of controversy even in that sense. You know, I mean, Jimmy called out his brother in the backstage on Raw this week saying, like, yo, you keep talking all this rah rah and we're not doing anything. What are we doing about this? Like, it was supposed to be me and you. Maybe you were just too afraid to see what would have happened if it was indeed the two of us left. I like this little attitude from Jimmy. I like that he's just not taking it and he's not being a little bit of a bitch. I'm glad that he's stepping up to his brother, stepping up and let him know what it is. Because, I mean, truth be told, Jimmy ain't wrong. Jay does seem to be have this extra attitude, and let's just be real. I don't think he's going to become the world champion at Saturday night's main event. Of course, we're going to tune in and find out, but do I see it happening? It's honestly a slim to none situation, truth be told. But once again, I guess we will have to wait and find out, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't that right? Um, I think it's very interesting. We did see another matchup getting added to the Saturday night's main event card, and that is the Penta versus Rusev versus Dirty Dom for his IC title. This is after El Grande Americano and his different Americanos, I guess, came out, attacked both Rusev and Penta. I mean, they were having a decent matchup. That's not shocked. The you know, and the only thing was, of course, they come out, they attack, and that's it. Honestly speaking, the El Grande Americano stuff was like really dope and cool, in my opinion, when Chad Gable was doing it. Chad Gable, you had the freaking American Made and those guys like involved in it. That whole group is just gone. I mean, granted, yes, their leader and the reason why they even got TV time, in my opinion, was Chad Gable. But with Gable out for injury, I'm sure he'll be returning soon. And once he returns, I think he is going to be the reason why this El Grande Americano and Co. come to an end. Probably be some type of Chad Gable group versus three of these guys. I mean, it seems like the setup is already there, and it seems like seems like it's already, kind of going to get handled. So that should be something I think we should be looking forward to in the future. I don't see it being a bad thing whatsoever. Um, I will say that so the problem is the situation with both Bronson Reed and what do you call it, Braun Breaker, right? Of course, they're gonna be these dominant guys, these dominant, group. Division was already running Raw in a sense, just causing havoc. Now I think they just have to keep themselves relevant. Hopefully, they don't get lost in the shuffle, as does happen sometimes. I think they are strong enough. Plus, they have Paul Heyman still with them, which should keep them afloat and shouldn't be causing major issues, in my opinion, in that sense, right? So I don't know. I'm not really just sure on where we may be going. Uh, just with them, they weren't obviously involved in the battle royal, because if they were, I think one of them would have won, and that would have been controversial, possibly. Uh, the other thing that could go some ways, maybe they interfered during that world title matchup. I mean, I don't know. Possibly we don't get an actual champion yet, and someone else interferes, and that's going to be them, and that's the reason why here we are. Like, still no champ come next Monday on Raw. So, I mean, it's still a possibility that it could be a chance that happens. I'm just not sure, right? Um, I will say, and I will admit that Saturday night's main event card is coming together pretty interesting and decently, in my opinion. Of course, they added the triple threat IC matchup on Raw. That brings the card up to about 4 matchups, which is not bad at all. I mean, they have 4 pretty good matchups, especially considering what happened on SmackDown last week, which was Jade Cargill not only coming back, returning, but she turned heel on Tiffy time. And it's going to be her versus Tiffany Stratton for the women's world title. And the women's WWE title, I apologize, for Tiffany Stratton's title. I don't think Tiffy loses here. I do, however, believe that the reason Jade went heel is because Bianca's coming back. In my opinion, Bianca Belair must be around the corner. She returns. Jade is already your heel, so you don't need to really even pull that trigger for it. You can just go back to the storyline of Jade attacking Bianca and just kind of ramp them up and go from there. Hope to God that Tiffany Stratton doesn't need a new challenge in Nia Jax returning and saying she wants her title again. Seen this 50 times, guys. Please stop doing it to us. I beg of you. It is not the way. And this title reign just doesn't look as strong because you guys keep doing this rotational thing, man. Shoot. The other matchup that I'm kind of pretty much excited for. Oh, by the way, sorry. While I'm here, I might as well do my prediction of the matchup. I do think that Tiffy will retain, as I said earlier, right? Now, next matchup was the Cody versus Drew matchup. Now, this is something that really got put together because of, I think, Fatu not being available, him being attacked. And just a side note, ladies and gentlemen, I do not think Drew is the guy who attacked him. It's someone else who got attacked. And I think before Cody came out, that person was possibly going to play like, oh, hey, like, you attacked him, I'm going to come in and sub for him and maybe even win. I'm hearing rumors that man could be the Viper himself, Randy Orton. I could see it happening. However, is that the play here? Not really sure. I just hope that Fatu is not going to be out as long as it was initially said. I'm hearing it may only be through War Games now, which is not bad. If he's back before the end of the year or even by the Rumble, I will take that. I think WWE will take that. That is one of their emerging stars, and they were going to put him in a high marquee feud with Drew McIntyre. I mean, that was going to be great. The crowd was there for it. I was there for it. I'm pretty sure all you guys are also there for it. However, that brought out Cody. Cody got himself DQ'd, beat up McIntyre more. Their promo was all right, I would say, on SmackDown last week. This is the go-home show. Let's see what they got for us. However, it is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre one-on-one for the WWE Undisputed title one more time. What's interesting about this is that Cody already beat Drew and Drew had him beat. So is this the time where WWE gives us something new and they pull the trigger? I'm I'm just not sure. However, I'm going to pull the bold prediction in there, and I'm going to throw my boy Drew's name as a guy who could dethrone Cody here, right? Because at the end of the day, Cody could always lose the title to Drew and gain it back at a close or future later date. It just depends on how it goes about. Maybe, Drew is a character that he just wants fair title shots, man. And he feels like he's been getting screwed by the system, by WWE themselves, and everybody else around him. And he's just sick and tired of it. I love this character of Drew's. He's been screaming and yelling for about, honestly, like 2 years now. It's actually crazy. Maybe more than 2 years. But Drew, this is the shot, man. I hate to see you lose another big marquee world title matchup. We need to give Drew something. I think this is the time to pull the trigger and give Drew, the Scottish psychopath, a night to remember. So why not, man? Now, a matchup that was recently added on Raw, and I believe he's still going to retain his title, is going to be Dirty Dom in that triple threat IC matchup with Rusev and Penta. Reason I believe that is I think Dirty Dom, he's losing next to one guy, and that is the man we can't see, John freaking Cena. Reason being, Cena needs the accolade of becoming the Grand Slam champion. Storyline writes itself, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. You have Dirty Dom retain it this weekend. Have Cena and him face each other. Dom, of course, talks his usual shit. Cena responds, or maybe Dom just throws out the gauntlet himself for War Games. Face each other. Cena becomes champ, Grand Slam champion. Then, either within that time frame and his last matchup, or, in my opinion, on his last matchup itself, if Gunther indeed is his last opponent, just have Gunther gain the title again. I mean, there's a storyline with Gunther that's still been there, and he mentioned it quite a few times this year while he was world champ, I feel like. And that is, or last year into this year, let me say, but that is, he spent a majority, about 80%, I believe the number was at the time at least, 80% of his time in WWE as a guy who wears gold, as a champion. So maybe he returns, has that short stint where, he's just fighting his way back to some type of gold. And who has the gold? The guy who he challenges, or perhaps Cena challenges for his last matchup. And that is John Cena himself with Gunther's good old IC title. Of course, we know Gunther had that historical and great IC title run, man. So I'm not against him getting the IC title back, kind of, just make it irrelevant. I mean, yes, Dirty Dom has been fighting with it, but he's been really fighting the same, honestly, he hasn't had more than 4 different opponents, 5 maybe. It's just a repeat of the same guys. The only different guys you could really say in the middle that he got, I believe, was Fight Kingo, and that wasn't even for the IC title. So there's that. There's the AAA title, okay, that's different then. He's faced Penta, who knows how many times. He faced Rusev at least twice now. I mean, what are we doing? He faced Dragon Lee a couple times, AJ Styles a couple times. I mean, it's really the same guys. It's like a revolving door with them. They don't know what they're doing. I think the next stop for Dirty Dom is to lose his title indeed, and lose it to the GOAT, John Cena. I see no other way. Dirty Dom retains, though, at Saturday night's main event. I think that's easy and written. However, something that I don't know what's going to happen is the main event, in my opinion. That's just me saying it. It's going to be the main event. That's CM Punk versus Jey Uso for the vacant world title, right? Of course, that's going to be the main event, in my opinion, because it's a vacated world title. We don't know who's going to win. A lot of people are saying CM Punk. I also believe I would love to see CM Punk become world champion and actually stay world champion for a little bit of time this time. How about we do that, right? Now, my real question is indeed, who is going to walk out as champion? Now, what if no one walks out as champion? Just a bold prediction. Of course, I think this is like a long shot prediction. However, in my opinion, CM Punk will beat Jay and will become champion. We can even possibly get like a Jimmy coming out to assist. Maybe Jimmy doesn't help when Jay asks him to. Maybe Jay tells Jimmy to stay in the back and someone else comes out, such as like a Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, to kind of make sure that there is no champion and one of them gets a shot instead. I'm thinking that could be it. Maybe we get introduced to the new leader of the Vision. Maybe Paul Heyman comes out. I don't know. Like, it could happen after the champion is crowned. Champion's crowned. He's standing up there all excited. The Bronze and these guys' Vision come out, beat the hell out of him. Who knows? Possibly, maybe even, I know I said a new leader of the Vision, but what if the leader is an old client of Paul Heyman's in the Beast, Brock Lesnar? Like, that could be another guy that could very easily be someone who's like, being challenged and being the guy to run the Vision. I'm just not sure on how that's going to go about. I do think personally CM Punk will become champion and he's going to lead us forward just for quite some time until we kind of get things sorted. I think Rollins is going to be out for who knows, foreseeable future type of deal. And Rollins, I don't think is going to go after the title immediately once he comes back. He's going to get some revenge. They're going to do that for like 6 months and then we get back to it. I do think that Punk will have a decent reign. I don't see it being a long reign. I just feel like either Lesnar, Heyman, maybe the bronze like attack, something is gonna happen in that main event. Again, I say main event because that is going to be main event. Now, before I wrap up and before we all go about and watch Saturday night's main event, there's only 4 matches on this card. Of course, we know WWE this year has been doing the 5 format. Of course, last year 5 as well. We're definitely not getting 6 for this card. I mean, it's already just 4. We may only end up with 4. If there is going to be a matchup to be added, it's going to happen on SmackDown. Possibly Solo's group does get their title shot against the Wyatt Six, and possibly maybe they screw the Wyatt Six over to get their titles off them, and that is what, in my opinion, could lead up to the War Games matchup between both groups. They have to somehow get that going, right? And I feel like we, again, haven't seen the SmackDown tag titles defended on any type of PLE in a hot minute, so might as well. Why not throw it on there? SmackDown titles shouldn't be too bad, and I don't know what kind of matchup we'll get, but hey, if it's a matchup you need and it's a 5th match filler, throw it in there. I don't mind. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I think is going to happen on WWE's Saturday night's main event this weekend. Don't forget to tune in. Don't forget to subscribe and like. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys tuning in, giving me all the likes and subs over the past 6 to 8 months. Thank you so much. And don't forget to tune in next time and like and subscribe, guys. Appreciate it. See you later.